Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode we will summarize what we've read and discuss the experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 58.
Chapter 58!
The Journey. Chapter 58. The Journey. Adolin drinks yellow wine with his friends and current girlfriend, Danlin. He thinks deeply on whether or not there are people who enjoy being wrong. He reflects on the Alethi preference for dark hair, finding it strange considering light eyes are ideal, then chastises himself for brooding like his father. The group discusses Dalinar's reputation. Danlin tries to come off as naive, but Adolin obliviously calls her out on playing dumb. She proceeds to suggest a reason why Sadeas doesn't make a move against Dalinar. Despite Adolin's protestations, the group maintains Dalinar's reputation is less than stunning. Despite the victories, they aren't his alone. Their strict clothing restrictions make him a pariah. What happens to him during the high storms has become common knowledge. Adolin tries to defend his father but leaves somewhat quickly. He has a duel scheduled with Bright Lord Ressi, who is fighting on behalf of Bright Lord Thanadal. Adolin walks through the war camp's outer market. He notes the professionalism of the Kholin officers against Sadeas' soldiers and others. He notes the lack of protective wall, making a prime target for attack. Finally, Adolin comes to several important realizations about the importance of following the codes. Dalinar sits in a viewing platform with Elhokar and Sadeas, overseeing a series of duels. He's telling them a parable from the Way of Kings. The parable tells the story of a king who walks from Abamabar to Urithiru as a commoner. The crux of the parable is to ask, does the destination matter, or is it the path we take? As Dalinar's retelling the story, Elhokar and Sadeas don't seem to understand the point of it. When asked what they think of the story, Sadeas claims it is ridiculous. The character walked all that distance just to make the point that kings should consider the consequences of their commands? Dalinar has come to believe that the point is deeper than that. He walked to experience what people did. He truly wanted to know what it would be like to walk that far. Sadeas offers Dalinar a compliment, then explains why the other High Princes think he is so self-righteous. Sadeas goes on to say that while he is self-righteous, he comes by it honestly. They discuss fashion, and Sadeas calls out Dalinar for being more judgmental about clothing than any of the other High Princes. Adolin duels Ressi and wins handily. He has the talent to be a champion, but avoids duels that place him within reach of the championship. Sadeas, Dalinar, and Elhokar discuss Dalinar's desire to end the war. Elhokar asks if Dalinar would leave the Shattered Plains, if he is a coward. Dalinar zones out in a serious contemplation of the question. He realizes his decision to retire is born of cowardice. Dalinar claims that he would leave, but not because of cowardice, but to stabilize Alethkar, to seek answers. Why the Parshendi did what they did. Seek recompense. Elhokar is surprisingly receptive to what Dalinar says. There's been no update on the Cut Strap investigation. Elhokar claims that he sees the real villains in their own camp, watching him. He sees them in mirrors with symbol heads. The admission concerns Dalinar and Sadeas. Elhokar and Sadeas convince Dalinar to try out some of Sadeas' bridges. They promise to keep them a bit more well-protected than the average bridge crew. Sadeas asks to be sent a copy of The Way of Kings. Resh-Shafir, the Midnight Mother, is giving birth to abominations with her essence so dark, so terrible, so consuming. She is here. She watches me die. Dated Shashabev, 1173, 8 seconds pre-death, subject a dark-eyed dock worker in his 40s, father of 3.
Yeah, still no answers in terms of is there a correlation between who's dying and what the message is. But yeah, we've got some new entity thing spoken about, the mother of what? Mother of abominations.
Mother. Yeah.
Midnight Mother giving birth to abominations. That's a lovely image.
Did you ever watch Jackie Chan Adventures?
No.
Okay, so there's a season where the dragon, I think his name was Shenron.
Mm-hmm.
There was a season where like he has a whole family of demonic siblings. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from all of these Voidbringer creature, 7 deadly sin type things.
Yeah.
But while we're on the epigraph, a quick callback or an elevator observation after our blind from last week. The epigraph from 57 was about killing the baby so that many can live, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And basically what we got is Kaladin killing, metaphorically, a childish part of himself that blames the Almighty. And he does it so that he can better help those around him.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Did we mention that also Bridgman dying so others live is the same sort of mechanism?
Also that. Good catch. And then we get an Adolin POV, and there are 2 elements of this chapter that scream Vin at the balls. One being the dynamic of Adolin having wine with a group of people gossiping is very much the same exact scene as Vin when she was at the ball with those no-name characters that we never saw again.
Yeah, that we did funny voices for. Yeah.
Yeah. And I there was a part of me that was wondering, and maybe it's because I'm a little tainted by that scene and knowing we never saw those characters again. They felt like they were there for that purpose and that purpose only. I wondered if it's a little late in the game in this chapter for these characters all to be introduced. But then I just think to myself, well, I think what I'm really saying is I would have liked one more Adolin POV of this kind of format earlier on in the book. And I think that would help elevate this one as well.
I see what you mean. I was thinking, I didn't think of them as like dismissible characters. It was like certain friends of his.
These ones are more well developed than the ones in Mistborn were.
Yeah, I got more of the sense of like when we met Elend and his friends, his like philosophy group. Yeah, that's what I was reminded of. Yeah,
I can see that. There is another element of this chapter, which is Vin at the balls, but we'll get to that as we go through it. Though, which is why I think I associated the characters like that as well. But I do see where you're coming from.
I do get a lot of Adolin being shallow in this as well. Where it's like he looks at the one girl and he thinks about fashion and all of those things. So when he's with these people, that is where like it seems like the youth and the folly of youth is ripe. And then when he's by himself, he actually has some good thoughts in his head.
Yeah, I didn't really pull my punches with Adolin in my notes, but I put pretty much he's dumb, he is shallow, and well, it's pretty much just those 2 things, but
what do you think of his girlfriend?
What do I think of Danlin?
Yeah, I think she's going to stick around. She's actually going to be around surprisingly long.
I think she's Vinning. We'll get to the specific exchange, but there is a hell of a lot more to her than meets the eye. But essentially, it starts with him having wine with his friends, and he's contemplating the philosophy of being wrong and whether or not people like to be wrong. So he's still struggling with having been wrong about Sadeas.
Which we knew, we're now getting an expansion of that idea because we've known it from Dalinar's point of view.
Yes, I like that. I like we were introduced to the idea in the last Dalinar POV, and here we are getting that more in depth. So that's really nice. He has his thought. She didn't dye her hair, though it was mostly auburn. There was nothing wrong with light hair. In fact, why was it that they were all so fond of dark hair when light eyes were the ideal? And that's why I wrote he's shallow. And I had a bit of concern for Adolin there.
That's not where I saw the shallowness. I was actually like, there you go. You're starting to realize that it's kind of weird and arbitrary to go, oh, light eyes are the ideal or whatever. There were other parts that made me think of it. It was, he goes, like later on when he's thinking about his the girlfriend, he's like, oh, she's very pretty. He thought the relationship would last. He's not thinking about how smart she was or anything like that. He just says she's very pretty, and that's why he thinks the relationship will last. Like, that was, ugh. It was like, oh, frat boy
Yeah,
bullshit.
he does not respect women. He also has the thought about Inkama. She wore a red dress. The color did not look good on her.
Yeah, he makes time to think about how the women look and evaluate them. And I'm sure that is what men do, and can say that it doesn't look good, or just know that, say, on some level they don't like the way that woman looks. But he's making conscious thought about it, that, oh, the color itself is wrong on her and all of that. And he is annoyed by her. And the way that he says to, sorry, what's her name?
Danlin?
Danlin, yeah. Oh, you're among the smartest women I know. Oh my god. I was like, that's
Well, that was stupid, Adolin.
yeah, he's dumb.
Let's go through that exchange. Because they're talking about why Sadeas doesn't make a move on Dalinar. And Danlin says, now, I know that I'm quite new to the war camps, and my assessment is bound to reflect my ignorance, but... And then, again, that is so Vin playing the know-nothing at the balls, right? That alone. She's totally fishing for information, or trying to plant ideas. And then, but Adolin interjects, stupidly. You always say that, you know? I always say what?
And then he liked her voice quite a bit. He's just thinking about how her voice, what he likes her voice. He doesn't realize what she's saying.
True. I always say what? That you're ignorant. However, you're anything but. You're among the most clever women I've met. So, calling her out on her bluff, on her attempt to manipulate the crowd, the group. Stupid Adolin.
I don't get the idea that she's trying to act dumb. The way that she does spin it. Well,
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because in the very next line, she hesitated, looking oddly annoyed for a moment. Then she smiled. You shouldn't say such things, Adolin, when a woman is attempting humility. It's that look. She gets frustrated. She does not like being called out, and that screams purposeful to me.
I think it is, the way I read it at least, is she's annoyed that he's just said that she's only among the smartest women he's met. He doesn't say you're one of the smartest people I've met. He says you're one of the smartest women I've met. So she's just like, she didn't bring up the fact that she's a woman in the conversation. She said that she's new to the war camps and her ignorance. She didn't say, I'm just a woman. So the fact that he brings up the fact that she's a woman is annoying. That is something that I would not like in a man. I suppose somebody could call that a microaggression, but it's just a sign of just underlying thinking for me, that it's like he really does think of people separately when it comes to intelligence. Like, oh, intelligent women versus intelligent men. That was his go-to. And yes, it is irritating. And she went and turned it into, I'm trying to be humble here. Yeah. I'm trying to preface it. I'm trying to be a little bit soft. I do agree that she could be inserting ideas and things like that, but she's being very feminine by saying, I might, this is like by her saying, I might be wrong, but she's softening. She's in the process of softening what she's trying to, she's doing a qualifier. She's hedging. She's doing a very feminine thing, the way that she's talking, and he interrupts it. And that is annoying. I don't doubt she's got her own plans and things like that. She's a lot smarter than thing, but I don't think she was trying to act dumb. She would be like that other girl, laughing and giggling.
Interesting.
If she was trying to be dumb and dismissive.
Interesting. Yeah, my read is completely different than yours on this one.
Because you're a man.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
But she goes on to say that it's unlikely Sadeas would want to start a war with Dalinar.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. And then the group sort of complains about how everything went down, and they get into Dalinar's reputation, and there are a couple of things. It like, how many First off, the fact that Dalinar and Sadeas are teaming up undermines the fact that together they are extremely successful, which is such shit. That exchange was, my father's reputation is sound, or have you not been paying attention to our victories lately? Achieved with Sadeas's help. So, screw you. But also, how many feats of strength does Dalinar have to do? How many Captain America Thanos against the giant crustacean does he have to do? How many armies does he have to, like, basically take single-handed to rescue a Bright Lord? Does he have to do to get some goddamn respect in this camp?
Yeah, no, they just want to hate on him because why? Because well, there's so
He's
many
better than them.
restrictions. No,
Or
no,
that.
no, for them, like for the higher ups, I think it's because he's better than them and everything. But
What,
for
you
them,
think you're better
they're
than
like
me?
spoiled brats. They're spoiled brats, and they're like, oh, well, he's got restrictions, and yeah, he thinks he's better than us, and whatever. It's a very they want to find fault in him. They want to justify their disdain in him.
Oh yeah, the you think you're better than me idea reminds me. In the last episode, we were talking about how Sadeas' soldiers think that they have the what you think you're better than me idea against the bridge crew. And I sort of kind of tried to articulate the scenario from their point of view rather than the bridge crew. And I did a god-awful job of it listening back as I'm editing. What I was trying to express is something to the effect of there are various structures where there are certain expected behaviors. Like on a movie set, you've got the background actors and you've got the crew and you've got the director and you've got the lead actors. And it's common practice. It is expected that the background actors are not allowed to talk to the director or to the other actors. It's like a faux pas for them to do so. So I imagine, and now don't get me wrong, Kaladin is still going to have to hold me back from attacking a soldier that throws a tomato at me. Screw them. Sadeas' soldiers are dicks, but I can also see from the other perspective how strange and possibly aggravating it might be to see people acting beyond the realm of what their position calls for. But that's a tangent. Again, I take the bridge crew side. Screw Sadeas and what they did.
No, but it makes sense. You're just explaining what the soldiers are thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Sadeas' soldiers are thinking the least good interpretation of what they could be thinking of the bridge crew. What I've just gotten into is more of an optimistic...
Charitable,
that's the word. Interpretation. That I do not hold, but a thought experiment I went down. Anyway, basically Dalinar's reputation still sucks, and it pisses Adolin off, so he leaves.
He makes a bit of an exit, like he tries to. There's plausible deniability. Sorry, I've got to go. Kind of, I've got a duel. But yeah, he leaves mostly because he's pissed off.
Yeah, it's noteworthy. He does leave. He says he has a duel with Bright Lord Ressi because Thanadal has been talking shit about Dalinar, so this is a matter of honor. Was Thanadal the one who refused to even meet with Dalinar about a joint plateau assault?
I'm so bad with these guys' names. It could be true.
I think it was. So I don't like Thanadal, but I'll double check that at some point in the future. And he walks out to the outer market, and he notes how unkempt the soldiers are, particularly Sadeas' soldiers. He notices how well-groomed the Kholin soldiers are, how well-respected they are, so to speak. And he also notes that there is no gate around the place. So through all of this, as he's brooding, he comes to a big realization why following the codes are so important. And that's good. That is excellent. He grows up a little.
Yes, exactly. When he's not with his other youngin' friends, he actually has a good head on his shoulders. A little bit. You know, like he did have the thought about, oh, she's pretty, therefore the relationship will last. But yeah, the fact that he's understood this is not just restrictions for the sake of it, or for it has a purpose. This is the alternative. And also, yes, the fact that he has to say so many times to us that we're not going to get attacked makes me go, oh, they're going to get attacked.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be where Kaladin makes some sort of distraction or something. Maybe it's Kaladin, or it would be the Parshendi.
Yeah. I don't know. Then we switch to Dalinar and Sadeas, and Dalinar is reciting the Way of Kings to them, a parable. I get Sadeas, man, because I'm reading through this and I'm thinking, this guy is really, really verbose for what is essentially a very, very simple point, which is you should understand how the lower half lives if you intend to rule them, so to speak.
Yeah, but you got to talk about, the fact that others looked badly upon him and things like that. You've got to put that in. But yes, he was very verbose. But yeah, a parable has to be a story more than you can summarize the the lesson at the end. But yeah, you do need to. Hey, you need to go on the journey, okay, to figure out the meaning.
Yeah.
It was very cool the way the interaction between, like, Sadeas is actually very witty and quite funny, and the way he makes Dalinar rethink himself and go, oh, like he gets a bit irritated that certain things he says is true. He's just like, oh shit, okay, yeah. So it's nice. It's good, and yeah, another payoff from the previous chapter, because it was like he said, fine, speak to me tell me about the book. And now we have him telling.
Yes.
And I was actually surprised. I knew Elhokar was around, but I didn't know Elhokar was really paying attention to the story.
Yeah, but it seems he is.
Yeah.
Which is very good. One big thing that jumped out at me, the line, "They were comfortable upon the table beside my half-consumed tray of grapes." What do you think just jumped out to me there, Kitty?
No, I don't know.
Grapes. Are there grapes in this world that aren't, does Shinovar have grapes? Or is this Cosmere, or is this an oversight?
Well, yeah, I guess they have all different kinds of wine. Why not grapes? Maybe that's what made him fall into just using grapes.
That is true. Actually, that's true. Interesting. But anyway, at the end of all of that, Sadeas coming in with the proper take, which is, he walked all that distance just to make the point that kings should consider the consequences of their commands. To which Dalinar responds, "It wasn't just to prove the point. I thought that myself, but I begun to see. He walked because he wanted to experience the things his people did. He used it as a metaphor, but I think he really wanted to know what it was like to walk that far."
Yeah.
That's a nice thought.
He really did. Yeah, he really did want to experience it. It's one thing to say, yeah, I should care about the experiences of the everyman, whatever. No, he actually goes and experiences it and learns from it. It's very different. Like, okay, Sadeas, go and run with the bridge crew. See how that goes.
Yeah. And we'll get to that discussion.
Yeah, use your shard plate and run and carry a bridge. I'm sure it'll be cool.
Yeah. So they continue chatting for a bit.
Oh, he also sees his bay. Not that he's excited to see it. Well, he is, but he tries to avoid it. He actually looks into the sun, essentially. He looks into the sky so that he doesn't look at her, because he thinks she's too pretty.
Yeah, he avoids looking at her. It's very awkward, sadly. Dalinar and Sadeas have a very important exchange, which is, "Dalinar, friend, the others simply cannot accept that the things you say are serious. They assume it must be an act. And you? What do you think of me? I can see the truth, which is that you are a self-righteous prude, but you come by it honestly." And that echoes Moash and Kaladin.
Yeah, he's had his moment of, he knows it's true. This guy, he it can be thought that this guy is just putting on an act, but no, it's true.
Yeah. They discuss Wit having left, and I'm surprised Dalinar does not bring up the fact that Wit mentioned to him that he was planning to leave.
I'm not surprised. I think the way that Wit left seemed quite strange, and he seems to care about Wit, so yeah, just referring to it that way, like making an issue of it, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, there was more important stuff to get into the chapter, certainly.
Yeah, and essentially as well, if he let them know that he knew, then it's like, oh, he's giving away that Wit is on his side.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of giving that away politically, strategically.
Yeah. And then they discuss fashion and the importance of fashion, and I certainly don't denigrate that importance, but Sadeas gets an excellent zinger in against Dalinar when he says, "You care more about fashion than anyone else does. You certainly judge us more for it than we do."
Mm-hmm. And he's like, damn, shit, it's true.
And then we get the duel where we learn that Adolin essentially has it in him to be champion. He's arguably better than Gavilar was.
Mm.
I remember reading this the first time and I was like, is he gonna lose? The text, it made it fairly clear he completely outmatches his opponent. But I was genuinely curious what would happen if he was gonna lose, because the stakes felt really high to me, if that makes sense.
No, so you were expecting
I was
subverted.
Yeah, I was very caught up in this idea of Dalinar cannot afford to lose this duel for the sake of his reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I thought he was going to lose, it's more like I was concerned about the ramifications if he lost. But it seems fairly clear from the beginning that Adolin is going to win.
Yeah.
Anyway, he could be a champion, but he stays away from those kinds of fights, duels, the competitive stuff, because Dalinar suspects, partly because of the codes. So, neat.
Yeah, and he should. Like, also, this would be this is a waste of shard plates. Okay, I know it doesn't. You have to repair it and everything. That's possible, but it's the fact that you're doing that to your equipment. No,
Yeah,
I think it's a waste.
Yeah, agreed.
But hey, they got it trained, I suppose. But yeah, just that breaking it, no.
Yeah. So then Elhokar talks about Dalinar's reputation and whether or not he still wants to leave the Shattered Plains and whether or not he's a coward. And Dalinar zones out and he's thinking to himself, am I a coward? And he comes to the conclusion that it was cowardly of him to want to retire. It would essentially have been him running away from things.
Yeah.
That's very good of you, Dalinar. Very brave.
Mm.
Then he says he would leave, and it's not because he's afraid, but it's because he's concerned about Althkar's stability, and there's still so much they don't know, and he has all these different ways of attaining victory.
Mm-hmm.
There are more important things to be done. And it's all stuff he has more or less articulated before. It just wasn't well received before.
Yeah, it's strange because the way he's like, why didn't you say this before? And it's like, I think he did.
He did. Yeah.
But I suppose maybe he didn't focus enough on continuing to research the Parshendi and like saying, yeah, we could find a way to defeat them and why they did it, or something like that. Maybe he didn't press that enough, but otherwise the actual facts have been laid down.
Yeah.
Before.
And everything that Dalinar says he would do is strong and should be done.
But I think also the way where Elhokar is right now is the thing that's different. He's
that's
more
true
scared.
Too. Very true. And when we talk about why, we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, there's no progress yet on the cut strap investigation. And Elhokar drops some major knowledge for us, the readers. He sees symbol heads, just like Shallan.
Yeah. In your summary, you said symbol. in your summary, you said symbol heads, but he didn't say symbol heads. But obviously, we're supposed to say it's symbol heads.
Yeah. It's the
I
geometry
think what.
men.
Yeah. How did he call it? I see their faces in mirrors, symbols twisted in human. That's it. So like,
Yes.
yeah,
And
it would be really funny if he said, "I see the symbol heads."
but the crazy thing is, you and I, up till this point, have been wondering if they are connected to the Soulcaster.
Yes.
I don't think Elhokar has a Soulcaster.
Yeah.
He has Ardents who probably has them. He has like royal Ardents that use them for him, but he does not himself have one, which suggests that the symbol heads are not the reason, or rather, that
Mm.
the Soulcaster is not the reason Shallan sees the symbol heads.
Yeah. It makes sense. Like she wasn't trying to use the soulcasters the first time she drew them.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have the functioning soulcaster the first time that she drew them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what we're supposed to take from that. Is that okay? So it isn't about people don't see soulcasting.
Yeah.
Don't see that when they soulcast.
Yep.
So what are they?
Yep.
And why are they appearing to him? He seems a bit dense. But hey, I guess we also think Shallan sometimes is a bit. But yeah.
Also fair. Well, they're all people of consequence, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't heard from Shallan in a while. Hope she's okay.
Yep. She's a lot happened when we last saw her. So
Yeah. So then Sadeas and Elhokar convince Dalinar to use Sadeas's bridgemen instead of the Chol-Pulled bridges.
mm-hmm. And when they have that exchange, about Dalinar has issues with the whole bridge crew idea and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Sadeas saying, "Oh, they're mostly slaves. It's an honor to die for the cause or whatever." And then our next chapter is called An Honor. So, yeah.
So are we predicting that Kaladin will be selected to be in Dalinar's team?
Yeah, we need them to come together at some point.
Would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Although
And
I'm
yeah.
curious what that meeting would look like if it happened now. For some reason, I feel like it won't happen for a while, but...
It wouldn't be a meeting. It would be coming across each other. Like, he would,
True.
obviously, Dalinar would not see this guy, would not see Kaladin, but we want Kaladin closer to Dalinar to see what kind of guy he is.
It's funny.
Mm.
The fact that Bridge 4 is so soldier-like could make Sadeas be like, let's send that one to Dalinar. He'll think it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put on a good
exactly.
face.
Yeah, it's an in-world reason. Yeah.
Yeah. As Elhokar leaves and as Sadeas leaves, he asks for a copy of The Way of Kings. Sadeas is growing.
Yeah, it actually has resonated. Maybe he wants to use it to manipulate Dalinar or something, but either way, we want him reading it, or listening to it, because he can't read. Yeah.
Yeah. Exciting chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of payoff.
Yeah.
From previous chapters. So yeah, pacing is increasing.
It is very much so. Let's ramp it up.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say?
Oh, I want to ask you if you're satisfied with Dalinar's response to the proposition of Sadeas and whatever. And like, he doesn't notice or think about the idea that he is still kind of complicit in these guys' deaths. Because remember, we've had this discussion before about the bridge crews, like the fact that Dalinar is benefiting from Sadeas's bridge crews, secondarily, fine, but he's still benefiting from them. He has an issue with the waste of life and whatever, but it's already happening.
It makes him even more complicit. I think he's already complicit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just by dint of he's teaming up with Sadeas, therefore he is benefiting from. Now he is even personally using those bridge crews, which makes him even more complicit. Yeah.
Which I think will lead to something. Something's got to give with him using the bridge crews and seeing how they behave. And yeah, I'm excited to see that. So I'm glad that the next chapter is called An Honor. I'm hoping it's the time where Kaladin does get close to Dalinar, as in fleetingly. But it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kittek because she's got a great channel. And we'll see you next time.
Get it, bye.